Hey friends, it's Gina. Welcome to the Book Read channel. It's Friday, last day of March. It is a super gloomy day here in Kansas City, Missouri. And it seems like it has been a coon's age since I have made a YouTube video. And it has. Life has happened in the last couple of weeks and I have not been able to hop on and film a video in seems like forever, but I think it's been a couple weeks. But so my youngest son's soccer season started. My older son has had some medical issues. Basically his ear exploded, but he's fine. And my daughter is getting married in the next couple of weeks. So all of that, plus we had spring break, and probably the thing that is most stressing me out right now is that 2 weeks after my daughter gets married, we have an indie craft fair here in Kansas City called StrawberrySwingKC. It is pretty awesome. It's not only nationally known, I mean, it's known worldwide. And I'll link below all the information about it. But I've participated in the last 3 shows. I think I did 2 shows last summer, and then I did one in December. So this one coming up 2 weeks after my daughter gets married, and it is a 2-day show. So I have been, I've actually put my Etsy shop on vacation. So if you've gone to my Etsy shop, I apologize. It's gonna be on vacation because I can't keep up with making journals for the show and having enough inventory to last me 2 days, and then also fulfill orders and take care of customers through Etsy. So I've had to put it on vacation so I could get through with the wedding and get through with the show, and then school will be over in May, and I hope to get back to getting my Etsy shop open again and all kinds of good stuff. So these are just some of the books that I have been working on to take to the Strawberry Swing Indie Craft Fair. I've got about 77 done right now. I've got 3 more that are so close to being done. I need to sew some pages and then bind them. My goal is to get 100 by the time the show rolls around. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that or not. I don't know. We'll see how much this wedding plays into that. So if you would be interested in seeing some of the books that I made for the show, or even hearing some hints, tips, and tricks that I've learned, because a craft show for art journals is totally different than other artists selling their craft and the things that they make. Art journaling is pretty new to the indie craft scene, and I have learned so much just in the last couple of years with the shows that I've done. And yeah, I've gotten pretty particular about what shows I will actually do, because there's just so many things, especially for art journaling, because not a lot of people know what art journaling is. So if you'd be interested in a video on craft shows or indie craft fairs, hints, tips, and tricks, looking at some of the stuff I'm gonna take and why I take particular things, just let me know in the comments, and I would be happy to do a video on that topic sometime soon. So this is one of the books that I've been working on that has taken me so long. This is for my daughter's wedding. It is going to be her guest book, and then after the wedding it'll be her scrapbook album. So she's getting married in Kansas. I live in Missouri, but I live right on the border of Kansas and Missouri. So it's pretty much, Kansas City is just pretty much, you know, it straddles between 2 states. So you can like live in Missouri and work in Kansas, or vice versa. We live and work in Missouri, but we do all our shopping and all of our activities and stuff are over in Kansas, just because that's just the way it is. So anyway, they're getting married in a barn that has been turned into an event space in Kansas. And so she wanted, their wedding is going to be kind of prairie themed. And so one of the books that Maddie and I, that's my daughter's name, one of the books that we love, that I remember reading to her when she was little, was Little House on the Prairie. And we always reference Little House on the Prairie. And so she's like, Mom, wouldn't it be awesome if you could make me a book out of Little House on the Prairie? And so I was like, yeah, and I didn't think I'd have any trouble finding a Little House on the Prairie book. So I start scouring all my usual places. Absolutely cannot find the version of Little House on the Prairie that I was looking for. So I was starting to panic in a little bit. So I found one version. It wasn't the one I wanted. It wasn't the right year. And but I was like, okay, well, I can make it work. So I got it home and, you know, made it all fancy and did all the stuff that she wanted to it. And then 2 weeks later, I'm at an estate sale and boom, found the one that I had been wanting. And it was actually in pretty good shape. I've cleaned it up quite a bit. It had a lot of mold and water damage on the back, so you can kind of see I've done a bleach wash on it to try to get rid of some of the mold. But it would have worked just fine had I found it 2 weeks earlier. So now I have a Little House on the Prairie book that I'll actually be turning into a journal because I won't be using it for her wedding. But that was the one I wanted. But so you can kind of see the cover is still the same. I don't know if you can tell or not, but there's like Mary's face and little Laura's face right there. So this was the cover that I wanted. And she wanted it to be very rustic, but my daughter tells me all the time that she is a minimalist. And to her, minimalist means I'm like a color explosion. So my whole life is like color, like every wall in my house has color, every piece of anything that I touch has color. And Maddie is completely the opposite. So she's like, Mom, remember, I'm a minimalist. So whatever, I had to tone it down a lot on this journal, but in the end, I think she really liked it. For the cover, I did something. It was kind of an experiment. I just kind of wanted to see, and since this really wasn't the version of Little House on the Prairie that I wanted, I was okay if it was an experiment because if I messed up, it was no big deal. But it turned out, and I was okay with it. So I just took cheesecloth and Mod Podge. And I took this Glimmer Mist. It's pretty old. I've had it for quite a while. But this one's called Coffee Shop. And I just did a couple of squirts of this into the Mod Podge. And you can see I actually have it on the side here. And then I would dip the cheesecloth into that dyed Mod Podge. And so once I did that, then I would, you know, like brush it on and everything. And it actually took a while to dry, but once it dried, I didn't know what color it was going to be because this is supposed to be brown, but actually after it dried, it looked kind of rose colored, and which is perfect because her colors are beige and blush and like gold and stuff. So that worked out pretty well. I kind of like it, and I kind of like that it's just pretty, you know, rustic and organic and doesn't really have a pattern. Then I took some gold, and it's not the Glimmer Mist, it's the Heidi Swap gold spray, and I just sprayed that on it while it was still wet. And so that's how the cover was made. And once it dried, then I just went around it with my sewing machine and just stitch some little pieces of fabric. This up here is just some fabric scraps that I had. And then this is, I just put this on with a safety pin so that you see that. And then this is a little locket. This actually was a locket that my mom gave me a long time ago. And so there's no pictures in here yet, but what I'm thinking is, I think I'm just gonna put their initials. So I'll put an M and a D in here, and then if they want to go back and put pictures in later, they can. And then this is some silk that I had from a necklace, and the necklace is really heavy and kind of gaudy, and I don't wear it, but I love this silk. It is just like the softest material, and I'm saying it's silk. It might not be silk. I have no idea. But anyway, this was scrap, and so I just put some eyelets through here and then tied that to have that hanging off. So that's the outside, and then I just have this to wrap around. And then the inside, I put in just some pages from the book. I tried to find pages where there were cute little illustrations, or when it was one of the chapters that I remember Maddie and I reading together. So lots of scrapbook paper in this because, like I said, it is going to be for the guest book. And then they'll go back and we'll put pictures and stuff in. So playing cards, I have a book of birds, so I tried to find like prairie birds and put those in. This is a little pocket here. I left, and this kind of freaked me out, but I left all of the trim, like all of the strings and stuff, I left those on, and that doesn't, I don't know. I'm not in love with that, but it seemed to fit the theme and it seemed to fit the book, and it looked like something that Laura would have back in the day. So I left that on, and I actually kind of like it. I don't know that I'll do it a lot, but it worked for this book. So then envelope, and then I had some vintage maps. So I put, he's from Kansas. So I have some maps of Kansas in here, and then she's from Missouri. So I put Missouri maps in here. And then I have a map of her hometown in here where she was born. And then I have a map of his hometown where he was born. So those maps are in here also. This is some vintage wrapping paper and sunflowers because of Kansas being the sunflower state. Some doilies, lots of fabric that just kind of looked old-fashioned prairie type. Feathers, because she loves feathers. This was wrapping paper that I'm sure it mortified her, but at her wedding shower, well, I guess it was her couple's shower, they opened gifts, and so I would go around and as they were throwing the wrapping paper in the trash can, I went and grabbed little pieces of it and then brought the pieces back and put them into this book. So that's what this envelope's made of, is some wrapping paper. So this is a card that she sent our house. I think this was her, I can't remember, it was an invitation. Maybe it was the bridal shower invitation, but I put this in here. So obviously I had opened it and everything. I turned it into a pocket. And then I stuck that in. And then there was something else I was going to show you. Oh, her save the date. I turned that into a pocket. And then I also put their invitation in here too. I don't think I've gotten into it. This is a little tuck spot right here. And I haven't finished, like I need to go back and add tags and maybe add some stamping. Oh, here was their invitation. And so I put that in. So my daughter is quite picky when it comes to things like this, and you know, she says she's a minimalist. So what I did was I sat down I pulled a bunch of papers that I thought she would, I really like that paper, that I thought she would like, that kind of was the prairie theme but wasn't too kitschy. And so then from there I just let her go through and pull out what papers she thought would work. So once she pulled out those papers, then I was able to, you know, kind of put them together. There was only a couple that I didn't think matched, and I pulled out of the pile. But this is, I found a box of, I guess these are CD holders. And so I thought this would be cute that they could slip a little picture into, and then just on the other side of it is just a little pocket with some tags. And then here's the back of the book. So that is her wedding album. And that's kind of what I've been up to lately. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what other types of things you would like for me to do a video on. If you want to talk about craft fairs, if you want to talk about, if you want to see what's been going on in my art journal, if you want to see some of the books that I've been making, talk about vintage ephemera. There's so many things we could do. So I appreciate you guys spending time with me this afternoon, and let me know how things are going for you and what kind of creative, awesome little things you've been up to, and have a great rest of the day. Bye.